So, last year I tested out the Cobra Aerojet Driver. I was really impressed with how it performed in terms of numbers, in distances and speed. However, I just couldn't get used to it and couldn't get comfortable using it out on the course because of the way that the driver looked. However, Cobra have not only updated and made some changes to the looks of the previous driver, they've made the changes that were the things that I didn't like beforehand. So, as you can imagine, I was really excited to get my hands on the new Cobra Darkspeed Driver. Is it going to perform as well as the Aerojet did last year? So let's go ahead and look at some of the changes that Cobra have made from the previous driver to the new Darkspeed. Starting off, something that I just really didn't like about the Aerojet was that it was so reflective on the top of the driver. When I was stood over the ball, I just couldn't feel as though I was square up to it, and the alignment aid ended up being a little bit washed out because of how reflective the top was, so I just couldn't get comfortable stood over it. However, looking at the new Darkspeed driver, this is completely different. As you can see, they've matted the top of it. The alignment aid is still very subtle compared to the background, but I much preferred the look of this stood over the ball. Straight away, when I took this out onto the course, the first shot I hit, I just thought there was a massive improvement with how I felt and how it looked being stood over the ball. This design change even continues onto the sole of the golf club. If we take a look at the bottom here, you can see that we've lost the white design from the Aerojet, and also that reflective section over the carbon has been matted out on the new one as well. Overall, I much prefer the design of the Darkspeed driver. There's just some really small details with those small added bits of blue onto it, but overall it's a lot simpler, it looks a lot cleaner in my opinion, it's not as flashy and in your face as the Aerojet was, so overall much happier with the design of the Darkspeed driver. This year it's all about ball speed for Cobra. They're really chasing those ball speeds, extra distances, and there's three main technologies that are allowing them to do that. So first of all, we've got extreme aero technology. This comes in from the shaping of the head for better aerodynamics. So we've got a higher crown to delay separation, and we've also got flush weighting on the sole, which basically means that the weights here, they're not separated out from the rest of the club. There's no gaps between them, whereas in the 2023 model, you could actually see the gaps a little bit more. It wasn't quite as flat to the base of the club. We also have a much lower toe, which has been inspired by the design of bullets and aeroplane wings to get the best possible aerodynamics in this driver. We've also still got the PowerShell hot face that we have seen in other Cobra drivers since 2022, but in the new Darkspeed driver, we're seeing it stretch further across the face to wrap more around the rest of the head, basically to improve face flex and to give more robust launch conditions. So something else that we've seen as well in previous Cobra drivers is the power bridge technology. However, how they've refined it in the 2024 driver is they've used AI to provide a thinner bridge which is closer to the face on the inside of the club, and it curves closer to the sole to lower the CG and move it further forwards. Because of this, Cobra have said that you should be able to see 250 RPM less spin with the Darkspeed driver compared to the 2023 Aerojet. So we took the Cobra Darkspeed out to Stockport Golf Club to test it out, and straight away, as soon as I stood on the tee with it, I felt so much happier compared to the Cobra Aerojet. Now, what I was finding, interestingly enough, as a player who tends to hit a straight to draw ball flight, every single shot with this pretty much that I was hitting was just fading slightly. Now, this could be due to the fact that Cobra are looking to reduce the spin. As we said, you may be looking at around 250 RPM less, supposedly, with the Darkspeed driver. But I wasn't too put off by the fact I was fading it because it was a very minimal fade and it was so consistent. I was just hitting the same shot over and over again, and I honestly just felt as though I couldn't miss a fairway with this driver. So as I said earlier, I much prefer the visuals of this new Cobra driver compared to the 2023 model. However, something else that I really liked with this was just how stable it felt at impact. I didn't feel as though there was any twisting of the club face at all, which was a really nice feeling. I felt as though I was always going to hit it straight, always going to be consistent, and it also gave me the confidence to stand over the ball knowing that I could try and put a little bit more into it, really go for it and chase a little bit of distance, because I just felt as though there was so much forgiveness there with this driver. So obviously we want to know how these drivers are performing on the golf course in real life golfing conditions, but I also then wanted to take it indoor to Hooked to get data from Foresight, which I was then able to compare directly to the Aerojet model. Now obviously I was really excited by how well I was hitting it on the golf course, and also really happy at the changes to the visuals with this. However, what I found was that during the indoor testing, it was performing well. However, it wasn't chasing massive speeds and massive distances, too much so in comparison to the previous model. So let's start off with some of the numbers from the Cobra Aerojet that I previously tested. So this was coming out with an average carry of 214 yards and a total of 241 yards, with an average ball speed of 131 miles per hour. So for me, they're pretty good distances. That's pushing on the upper ends of what I would be wanting to see at that ball speed. With the Cobra Darkspeed, I did see a reduction in the ball speed, coming out at an average of 128 miles per hour. However, you've just got to bear in mind, these were on 2 different days that I tested them out. So it might have just been that I was swinging the Darkspeed a little bit slower on this particular day with that ball speed coming down. But that gave me an average carry distance of 209 yards. So coming in at about 6 yards shorter, and an average total distance of 234. Again, coming in at 7 yards shorter than the Aerojet. With that said, there was one shot that I just want to point out with the Cobra Darkspeed, which I hit with a ball speed of 132 miles per hour, so 1 mile an hour higher than my average with the Aerojet. So that 132 mile per hour shot had a carry distance of 217 yards and a total of 248 yards. So for me, ever being able to push at that boundary of 250 yard total, that to me is really impressive. I would always be really happy with that shot. So it does show that there is the scope there to be getting some extra distances, because I would say for 1 mile an hour extra ball speed, an addition of 7 yards total distance is pretty good going. And with that shot, I did see a reduction in spin, and looking at the 2 averages, my spin rate for the Darkspeed was coming in at about 150 RPM lower than the Aerojet. So the claims that Cobra were making about having that lower spin, I definitely saw with the Darkspeed driver. So coming on to a verdict for the Cobra Darkspeed driver. As I was saying earlier, I much prefer the looks of this new driver compared to last year's Aerojet, especially if we take a look at the head cover. As you can see, that same dark color, the whole design feeds through into this, really high quality, and I just really like that dark theme overall. As I was saying, what I really liked about using the driver was I was able to stand on the tee and feel really confident about keeping it in play, but also being able to really go for it, put a lot into the shot because there was so much stability there. I much preferred the looks at a dress, so much easier to feel as though you're lining up square to it. So for me, this was a great driver to take out onto the course. As I said, I lost a little bit in my averages in terms of distance, but also lost a little bit in ball speed. So that might have just been from swinging it slower, but there was a few shots in there that showed some potential for some high distance, high speed with the Darkspeed driver. As always, make sure you check out my full written review for the Cobra Darkspeed driver if you want to know a little bit more about it and my thoughts on it. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to the Golfalot YouTube channel so that you don't miss any videos from us in the future. Thank you guys for watching, and subscribe for more.